got some friends with me. Shit.
You can't hide what you don't see. The devil's upon me, but my knees ain't weak. The Lord knows my pain, but I don't know the Lord, so hell's the price I pay. I'll give you knowledge, give you truth. You think we care about all the backs that you move?
Put your hands together for comedian Scott Kelley.
It's been a minute though, but now I'm back to Bennett. To be real, I feel like ain't nothing changed though. Like Pop said, everywhere I go, see the same hoes. Can't fuck with them, and most of these niggas hoes for the same goal.
Thank you. I heard through word of mouth my friend got head from an anorexic girl. She didn't swallow much. I was nervous opening with that joke that I almost gagged. That joke has a 50% chance of going down smoothly. Some people can't stomach it. Speaking of eating disorders, I was out to eat with a bulimic friend of mine for over 2 hours, which is crazy because lunch was supposed to be quick. And at one point she choked, and I gave her the Heimlich and saved her from all those calories. Jesus ain't here tonight. So let's class it up a little bit here. Porn. Calm down. I was surfing porn sites the other day for research reasons, as one does. For things like, what are the alternative purposes for cucumbers? Does 6 guys and 1 girl mean she's bad at math? And do they ever just pay the pizza guy and let him leave? And through that, I found out that gangbangs and drive-bys are eerily similar. Because either version can end with 6 shots to the chest. At least with one of them, the person's in stable condition once they get a shower. I did see a video where a bunch of 40-year-olds gangbanged a girl. I thought, wow. And I have a hard time trying to get my friends to come over and play Xbox. Maybe I should put a phone on my Xbox. It's the only time they can hit the G spot, the gamepad. Ow. There you go. There's a gamer. Or a porn enthusiast, I don't know. One of the two. I will say that sometimes you're never out with people and everyone's having a good time, you're all laughing, you chime in and say something, and then it just goes downhill. I was out with some people who were laughing, having a good time, and I was like, I'm gonna chime in and say something funny. So I said, I moved around a lot as a kid growing up. But that's what happens whenever you're a military brat, your dad's an ISIS. That joke bombed. At the VFW. So let's take it back to the beginning here. I was born on St. Patrick's Day. Anyone else here born on St. Patrick's Day? This is why I'm lucky. Thank God I'm not an alcoholic, because you can imagine the amount of free drinks I get on my birthday. The answer is none, actually. No one gives a shit. I still have to pay. But I did grow up Mormon, and no, my dad did not have multiple wives. He had 1 wife and 8 maids. I'm milking, because he got them pregnant. Actually, there's 2 versions of Mormonism. One version that practices polygamy, and the other version is lame. But I had a normal childhood. My dad took me hunting once. He wore orange, I wore antlers. My dad would give me fatherly advice. He'd say things like, fight with your words, not your fists. So I wrote, fuck you and my knuckles and punched someone out. But I always knew my parents never thought highly of me. For instance, my sister's Christmas stocking was full of Smarties, while mine had Dum Dum lollipops. Even at school, kids wore shirts that said things like, winner or losing is not an option. My shirt said things like, you did your best. I have a brother who's older than me, and I got to see him date a few women over the years, and one time he dated a holy woman. To see her, he had to blow her up first. Nowadays, my parents are retired together, and my dad spends a lot of time in the basement woodcrafting, creating a coffin. I'm kidding. It's an urn. And I am married, and I realize that a wedding and a funeral are only times that you're surrounded by people that love you, and they get to see you die twice. That joke is for people who have had shitty relationships. That does not reflect mine. I actually have a very healthy, happy marriage. In fact, the worst thing my wife's done lately was have Taco Tuesday on a Monday. What a fucking psycho. I've been almost married for 20 years now. Yeah. Well, thank you. I'm glad somebody's happy for me. But almost for 20 years now, and I'm glad because back then, things were so much easier. Women expected men to accept the fact that you need to kill spiders, take out the trash, and have emotions. Nowadays, women need men to accept the fact that they have a dick. Thank you. When I met my wife, it was love at first Stockholm syndrome. I saw that she worked at Target and she became my bullseye. Actually, I was really nervous talking to her. It was more awkward than when a girl finds out that her father subscribed to her OnlyFans page. This is to support my little princess. You look like your mother 20 years ago. Don't worry, it gets darker later. I ease you in, come on. But I was so awkward and I didn't know what to say. She started just to walk away. And out of desperation, I blurted out, "Can you help me find some double D-sized bras for my mother?" She should have ran away that day, but she couldn't because of the chloroform. Obviously, that last part's a joke. The double D-size bra part, not a joke. No. Apparently, my A-game pickup line is lingerie for my mama. She was cool about it. She picked one out that was perfect. Sadly, with age and complacency, my father needed it more. You're going all on that? That's sad for those old man titties. Jeez. So when I went engagement ring looking for my wife the day after we met, kidding, that night, so I realized that not everyone gets my sense of humor. When I went to the jewelry store, the jeweler showed me this ring and said, this one will take her breath away. And I said, I hope not. She needs to be alive for this. A year later, we got married, and on our wedding night, my wife said those magical words, "Take off my wedding dress. I hate when you try on my things." So like I said, we've been married for almost 20 years now. Romance does die down a little bit. Like, we were in bed the other night, and I just looked at my wife and said, "You're a beautiful soul, amazing, the best things ever happened to me." And she said, "You too, buddy." I don't know why it made my wife sound like an old school NFL announcer. There he goes again, trying to take my bra off. Bumbo. Oh look, he can't find the hole during doggy style again. No, we're not playing at Cleveland Browns Stadium, that's a shithole. Do we have Steeler fans here tonight? That was for you. So over the years of being married, I've learned that SOS stands for different things depending on where you are in life. Like on an island, it means save our souls. At work, it means same old shit. And in marriage, it means sex on Saturday. And we're trying to do some fun things to spice up our love life. Like my wife's like, send me a dick pic. So I did. And then she said, what's this? You sent me a picture of your face. I was just going by what you called me the other night. A dickhead. So I got birthday sex this year as opposed to Saturday sex. Which if my birthday ever lands on Saturday, then I'm really screwed. But since I brought up sex, I hate when guys say, I was eating a girl out. Like, really? You lick it, suck it, fuck it. No one's ever eaten a pussy and went, I'm stuffed. So like I said, I am married and we have 2 kids and 2 pets. And every morning I get the animals breakfast and then the dog and cat. My wife had a home birth and I was in charge of the home birth playlist. I only put 3 songs on it. Europe's The Final Countdown. MC Hammer's Too Legit to Quit. And Salt and Pepper's Push It. That's not the response I got on the day of the home birth. I failed my lone assignment. What she wanted apparently was music you would hear at a massage parlor. I gave her music you would hear at an 80s, 90s dance party. After you did a line of cocaine in the bathroom. Because you're a prom bomb. Well, on that day, it was so warm that my wife wanted me to get a box fan and put it in front of her face. Now, remember, when your face is up near a fan, whatever you project out of your mouth does not sound like your voice, right? So all her labor pain moans didn't sound like, it sounded more like, Forget Lama's breathing, this was llama's breathing. So my wife, she breastfed both her boys, and I remember one time we were out in public, and someone shouted at her and said, I find that pornographic disgusting. I mean, come on, my wife has the right to allow me to have a drink if I'm thirsty. It's the best way to get a milk mustache. I think where I went wrong though, was that I winked at the guy, because he was her ex. And then I ended with a thumbs up. School's back in session now, and I remember a few years ago with my youngest son, we knew in advance that the teacher got a pet crab for the classroom. So I was excited for him to come home and tell us all about it. So when he did, I was like, how was your day? He says, Miss Carroll has crabs. So, no, buddy, you mean you got a pet crab for your classroom? He goes, no, she has crabs. She got it from a hermit. That same teacher called us because he's having trouble learning his words, and she's like, your son today said A is for asshole. And I said, at least he got one. Wait till he gets the letter C. The kids can embarrass you though. We were out in public and my son was trying to be cute, and he said, Dad, do you love my cheeks? I was like, I love your cheeks. He's like, do you love my eyes? And I was like, I love your eyes. And he's like, do you love my penis? Whoa, whoa, whoa. We do not talk like that. And he goes, sorry, dick. A lot of jokes here tonight are just fake. That one's sadly true. Worst part, we were at a birthday party for a coworker at Children's Youth Services. So I got a vasectomy a few years ago, and people asked me, like, how did you know it was time? Well, I was pillow fighting with my kids, and then I realized I wasn't pillow fighting with them, I was just smothering them. But don't worry, it was a breathable pillow. So I go to my vasectomy doctor. He's like, what brings you in here today? And I said, attempted homicide. And he said, we get this all the time. Here's what we could do. We can cut the vas deferens and cauterize it for extra measure. I said, I like this 2-for-1 deal. It reminds me of that time where I bought a used deep freezer that came with additional grandma. So on the day of the surgery, I have to take a Valium a half hour before and also Manscaped. I took the Valium a little too early. I thought it was appropriate to Manscape a heart shape, and that's what I went in with. He was cool about it. He says babysitter has the same one. So after the surgery, you're supposed to use 4 bags of peas in rotation. And I'm not a wasteful person. When I was done with them, I definitely returned them to Walmart. Since the vasectomy, now I just shoot out ghost loads. It's scary. Even my wife goes, boo! A lot more women laughed at that. You know why, men? Because you don't please her. I said this at one of the shows. A guy came up to me. He said, did you really try smothering your kids? I said, God, no. That was just a dark, sick joke about the stresses of parenting. And he goes, oh. And walked away. Man. So I found out that my neighbor has sex with his dog. I'm sure that's no walk in the park. This guy went from bros before hoes to pooch before cooch. He's got 99 problems, but bitch ain't one. I'm sure his habit started with a double dog dare. I bet those dog training classes had ill intentions. I just want her to learn how to beg and roll over. As I said, this is where it gets sick. So, but imagine, if you analyze this, when he's out with his friends, everything he says, I'm sure they don't know what he does behind closed doors, so everything he's saying sounds normal. You know, they're all complaining about their significant others, and he's like, yeah, I'm in the doghouse too. It's not so bad. And they're like, what happened? I'd rather let sleeping dogs lie. And they go on to talking about sex, and one guy says, I'm still wearing a condom. He's like, what about you? Nah, I'm raw dogging it. And then someone's like, hey, what's your favorite position? Reverse cowgirl. Come on, guys. Jeez, I thought you knew me. And you know how whenever you go to a friend's house who also has a dog and it's all up on you, and we always jokingly say, boy, when I get home, my dog's gonna be jealous. Well, his dog will be. He gets home, she's yapping. Oh shit, I got caught barking up the wrong tree. And I kicked out of the doghouse. I did call the police on him. I told him, you brought this on yourself, like a cannibal getting an upset stomach because they ate some bad Chinese. I got to see the police take the dog away. She did her walk of freedom. I say shame, but when you lick your own asshole, you have no shame. But hey, at least now whoever gets her can say they rescued her from a dog pound. Bet you never thought you'd hear that consecutive amount of dog fucking jokes. I gotta say, the closest I ever got to bestiality. Now, hear me out. Hear me out. I have a bad habit of leaving the door open when I pee. At the same time, my dog likes drinking water from the hose. It happened so fast. She was slurping that piss like it was coming out of a water fountain. My labradoodle turned into a golden doodle. It may not look like it right now, but I was 50 pounds heavier recently. I got to a point in my life where I went from Dunkin' Baskets to Dunkin' Donuts. What is the deal with the guy on the treadmill wearing jeans? Is this court-ordered and he's trying to walk off his probation? Is what I'd say people are probably thinking about me. What is the deal with the noises people make at the gym? there was this guy wearing a muscle shirt with hair sticking out everywhere, going, I couldn't tell if he was working out or transforming into a werewolf. I lost most of my weight though doing intermittent fasting, which is when you become a part-time anorexic. I didn't tell people I was doing this at first because I didn't want to look like I'm starving for attention. I got all the good parts of anorexia, like people can cheer my success, not call crisis. People could see muscle definition versus kids playing a xylophone on my ribs to beat a Band-Aid song, Feed the World. And I could play a board game versus be triggered by hungry hippos. Before I end on this part here, I will say kids will always tell you the truth. So months ago, my son saw me without my shirt on, and he said, Dad, and I said, yeah, buddy. He goes, you're fat. And I said, do you want a truth? I'm not really wrestling with your mother. Those noises you hear is Daddy trying to put on his skinny jeans. For role playing as a punk rocker to fuck your mother. So let me get set up for a second. It's something I used to do a long time ago in the early years, where I would do a bunch of random one-liners on the acoustic guitar. So I figured at least, hey, for one night only here, I'll bring it back and let's just do that for a little bit here. So give me a second, guys. Yeah, free to bird. In Kansas, firefighters rescued a cougar that was stranded in a tree. Eventually, she was returned to her husband. There was a sex scandal at the school that I went to. It was deeply personal to me because I was homeschooled. People hate when they get a song stuck in their head. There could be worse things that get stuck in your head. Like, oh, I don't know, a knife? I'll never forget what my grandfather said to me right before he died. Are you still holding the ladder? I bought anti-retardant clothes for my mentally challenged cousin Jimmy. They're full of shit. It didn't work. My barber gave me some problems recently. All I did was go in and ask for 2 inches on top, 1 inch on the side, with a nice faded look. And he said, I can't do that. Pull up your pants and get out. People say that companies are cheap anymore. That's not true. I can still open a bottle of aspirin and get a free cotton ball. I have a dream, and that's to open up the first lesbian bed and breakfast. I'll call it Muffin Tops. The other day, I won an award from my doctor. Muscular atrophy. I saw a sticker that said, you'll get my gun when you pry it from my cold, dead hands. And I thought, man, I just love when people do suicide awareness. I read an article that said loneliness increases the risk of premature death by 5%. And when I was done reading that, I thought, man, I wish I had someone to tell that to. I hate that hand sanitizers are only 99.99% effective at killing germs. Typical companies, forcing you to buy that second bottle to get the extra 0.01%. I don't know much about trauma, but I do know that if you ever got a coat hanger abortion, for the rest of your lives, you probably only own dressers. I have a trophy wife, and to show everyone how great she is, by their fireplace, I have her head mounted. Over this past weekend, I got dressed up as a clown and went to random kids' birthday parties just to see the look on the parents' faces when they realized neither of them ordered a clown. When men are making love, we think about baseball to make it last longer. It makes me wonder, is there ever a bunch of guys at a baseball game thinking about sex? All right, let me get to the last part of the show here, guys. Woo. So there's a saying, pain plus time equals comedy. So with that being said, in second grade, my teacher took me out of the class to tell me I'm a loser, a nobody, I'll never amount to anything. Flash forward to a few years later, her son got hit by a car and died. I guess he'll never amount to anything either. But, I did have accident forgiveness with my insurance company, so it didn't cost me a thing. I'll leave you guys with this last piece here. So, sometimes you have to do whatever it takes to please your wife, no matter what. Not because you want to, because you're scared of what happens if you don't. So what I'm trying to get at is, before kids, my wife was having a hard time with conceiving, and it's time for me to get a sperm test. So she handed me the cup and said, you know what to do with this? And I said, yes, water your plants. So I show up to the building, and I'm waiting for my number to be called, which is basically like a free get-out-of-jail ticket to publicly masturbate. Forget Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. This is Scott Kelley in the Cum Cup. And in the end, I'm not winning a multi-million-dollar candy factory. I'm winning stress and sleep deprivation. So, I eventually get called, I go up, and she tells me there's no facility on site because we like to inconvenience you. And she said, but I can take your empty sample cup for you. She was about as helpful as getting a private message from a stranger saying, what's your Cash App? I want to bless you. And you respond back, pussy poppin'. And for some reason, I got no blessings. She then tells me that I have to do this at home, and I have to be back before 55 minutes, or else my sample is useless. I told her, well, I live 40 minutes away, and I waited 15 minutes to be seen by you. And she said, do you have any friends that live nearby? Oh, that's great. Nice catching up. Excuse me while I stroke my penis in the sanctity of your home. Thanks for letting me use this family beach photo of your wife in my time of need. Great idea. But after a few calls, everyone was at work. She then told me that as I'm driving here, I have to have the sperm cup held between my armpit as I'm driving. Knowing my luck, I'll get into a car accident while I'm listening to Dave Matthews Band, The Space Between, and my body will be ejected from the car, laying lifeless on the ground, the cup will be wide open, the sperm going into my mouth. And the police will show up and the cop will say, case closed. This guy was too busy drinking his own jizz. And then my mom's screaming out loud, he didn't learn from me! He didn't learn it from me! They have the funeral, my dad's saying to everybody, well, I guess he's buried with the thing he loved most. Then to warn everybody about the dangers of drinking semen and driving, Instead of a cross by the spot where I died, it would just be flowers and a crusted blanket. So scenario one's out. And I can't do it in my car because then I look like one of these people. I do it here because it keeps the thoughts clean and pure. This is why I keep hand sanitizer in the car. So scenario two's out. What's left? I then realized that downstairs at the UPMC hospital is a bathroom. Yep. A stroke of genius. I get in there, and I have to wait because there's a guy taking a massive shit. And I don't have that kind of fetish. I'm like, oh yeah, give me more plops. And I want to backtrack for a second. That is not how guys masturbate. Not at all. Not one bit. This is how we masturbate. Damn it. That was a waste of 15 minutes on my lunch break at the mortuary. Hey, at least his body's embalmed. So no, guys don't sound like they're built up to a dubstep breakdown. The deed is done. So eventually this guy leaves, and it takes me a little bit to get into it, and then I'm off to the races. Literally. White chicks, black chicks, Asian chicks. My teacher said I would never do anything with my imagination. And a side note with this, it was not lost on me that over the PA speakers in the hospital, it was playing in that time frame, Michael Jackson's Beat It. If there is a God, touche! Great sense of humor. So as I'm coming, at that exact moment, the main bathroom doors open up, and I forget where I am, and I lose control of the hose like an osteoporosis firefighter. And it goes on the stall door, the stall handle, some of it's in the cup, and I'm just splooging it all back into the cup. And then I drop my sample off and tell them it's freshly made, 100% guaranteed. I wait for my results. They came back. I'm a pervert. No, my results did come back, and I actually found out that I have 80% strong swimmers, which is great news, because this whole ordeal has been an up and downhill battle. And I'm so lucky, because on the way home, I realized, holy shit. I'm so glad that no one wrongfully called this in as an active shooter situation. All right, guys, you have been great. Thank you very much, everybody. That is my time. I am Scott Kelley. Get help stand, everybody.
Can we go just kids and it wasn't a waste of time? We thought we had it all, the world was passing us by. These are the days I look back on and just roll my eyes. We were just kids, but it wasn't a waste of time. We were just kids, but it wasn't a waste of time. Yeah, we were just kids, but it wasn't a waste of time. Yeah, we were just kids, but it wasn't a waste of time. Yeah, we were just kids, but it wasn't a waste of time.